Chicago Fire, Med and PD fans may see less of their favorite characters next season. NBC's One Chicago franchise shows no signs of slowing down, even after more than a decade on the air. And it was of little surprise when NBC announced the official renewals of Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD for the 2025 to 26 season. The One Chicago trio remains the network's top performers on NBC, ranking as the network's most-watched programs. And the shows also perform incredibly well on NBC's sister streaming service, Peacock. It was also of little surprise when NBC announced that the shows will continue to hold down the fort on Wednesday nights this fall. Fans are eager to see how the shows wrap their current seasons, with the expectation being that we could have some major cliffhangers coming our way when the finals air on May 21. Fortunately, we know Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD will be coming back in the fall, which means we'll get a proper resolution to the cliffhangers. That's the good news. The bad news is that while the One Chicago shows will be back this fall, there is a chance we could be seeing less of some of our favorite characters when the three shows return. As fans will recall, as part of cost-cutting measures from the network implemented back in 2022, series regulars no longer appear in every episode of the season. Under this arrangement, series regulars tend to miss about 2 episodes during the season, which typically occur randomly, with the writers addressing the absence of the characters via quick one-off lines or conversations between characters. Then there are times when a character is just randomly MIA without any explanation, only to then return the following week. Disappointing as this has been, the One Chicago writers have done a really solid job of working around this restriction. In some cases, we've gotten to see more character-focused episodes that have honed in on a particular member of the cast, leading to some really incredible episodes, such as this season's Archer-focused episode of Chicago Med. In other episodes, it leads to some fun storylines, such as when we got the chance to follow some of the 51 crew during a night shift that allowed for some unique storylines. It was always expected that this would continue into the new seasons, but it seems the number of episodes some actors miss could be on the rise. Deadline has reported that the range of episodes some members of the Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD series regulars won't be in is expected to be about 2 to 4. This means some actors could miss about a fifth of the season should we see a 20 to 22 episode season next year. But that's not where the bad news stops, unfortunately. As an additional cost-cutting effort, it seems that the casts of Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD have been asked to take up residency in Illinois, where the shows are filmed. Those who choose not to become residents will reportedly appear in fewer episodes. No exact episode count was revealed. However, it seems likely that actors who don't live in-state could miss upwards of 5 or more episodes in the seasons ahead, which is wild. It's unclear which actors might not already be residents of Illinois, but we imagine details will emerge as soon as contracts are inked for the new season. We're hoping most of the cast won't be impacted by this new change, as the thought of series regulars missing more than 4 episodes in a season is concerning. That could really shake up character storylines and dynamics across the season, and result in fan favorites appearing in a smaller percentage of the season. Fans of Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD may want to brace themselves. Next season, the streets of the Windy City could feel a little quieter, a little emptier, and a whole lot different. NBC's beloved One Chicago franchise is undergoing a shift that might mean seeing less of your favorite characters. And for longtime viewers, that's like watching a bonfire die down, a siren fade into the distance, or a stethoscope hang still on a hospital wall. While no official lineup has been announced, sources close to production whisper of leaner casts, tighter story arcs, and for better or worse, fewer minutes of screen time for some of the franchise's most beloved heroes. It's not necessarily the end of an era, but it could be the beginning of a major transition in storytelling across the One Chicago universe. The flames may flicker on Chicago Fire. On Chicago Fire, Severide and Kid have weathered every inferno and emotional explosion imaginable. But next season, viewers may not see as much of the power couple. Rumors suggest that Taylor Kinney, who took a brief hiatus previously, might opt for a reduced episode count. Likewise, Stella Kid, Miranda Ray Mayo, may take on a more strategic, behind-the-scenes role as the series reshuffles its priorities. And it's not just the main players. Supporting cast like Ritter, Callow, and Violet, whose camaraderie has brought both heart and levity to Firehouse 51, could face diminished screen time as the writers shift focus to introduce new provies and explore different storylines. Chief Bowden, the backbone of the Firehouse, may also appear less frequently, possibly transitioning to an advisory role in city politics, a storyline hinted at last season that might finally come to fruition. If Bowden steps away from the Firehouse, the loss will be felt deeply, both on screen and in fans' hearts. The pulse slows on Chicago Med. Over at Gaffney Chicago Medical Center, change is also in the air. Word is the hospital drama may see a shakeup in its attending roster. Dr. Crockett Marcel, played by Dominic Raines, might be shifting into a part-time presence, appearing only in major medical arcs or crossover events. This could open up space for new faces in the ER, or possibly a few surprise returns from Med's past. Dr. Archer's gruff leadership style has been both a point of tension and comedy, but with whispers that actor Steven Weber may be pursuing other projects, the ED could be looking for a new department head. Meanwhile, fan favorite Maggie Wen, it comes to the One Chicago universe, fans have come to expect high-stakes emergencies, heart-wrenching drama, and powerful bonds that span firehouses, hospitals, and precincts. For years, Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD have brought adrenaline and emotion into living rooms across the country. But if you've been picking up on the behind-the-scenes rumblings, you might want to brace yourself. Next season could mean less screen time for some of your favorite characters. And no, it's not because they're running into burning buildings or gurney pushing their way through 12-hour shifts. It's about contracts, cost cuts, and creative shifts. Firehouse 51, a little less sizzle. Let's start with Chicago Fire, where fan-favorite characters like Kelly Severide, Taylor Kinney, Stella Kid, Miranda Ray Mayo, and Joe Cruz, Joe Minoso, have become the beating heart of the show. Yet recent episodes have already hinted at a pattern. Severide going off on specialized arson cases, Kid working more behind the scenes, and Cruz getting fewer dramatic arcs than in previous seasons. Could this be the showrunners slowly preparing viewers for less regular appearances?